You got to be kidding me. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Mark Summers, Major Linux, MajorHouse.com, and come to because lately I've been having some issues, been having some problems with my job. I don't know what to tell you, and it's actually just not my job, but normally just my life in general and the types of things that I do on the job, outside of the job, especially when it comes to providing support for people who know me as that guy. I'm the computer guy. I'm the technical whiz kid guy. Well, not so much of a whiz kid now, but like I'm the go-to guy when the computer goes boom. And lately, I've been having to deal with a lot of the same issues over and over again between my job and actually just life in general, or just in the public computing space. When one thing happens to one person, you damn sure guarantee that it happens for everybody else. But over time, you know, like I could be the nice guy, solve the problem, become the hero, save the day, wear my cape. Yes, I've done it. But it's getting to a point where it's starting to get very, very tedious. It's not to say that I don't want to provide the help anymore. It's just that, you know, it'd be nice that for the people that I do help, and I've helped so many people probably over in the past 10, 15 years, the same people. You would have figured that in this time they would learn, okay, if I'm asking for this, you know, I know what I'm asking for. But people don't seem to learn. Also, for those who I'd assume who would have some technical background. I mean, you know, for those who probably stream or, you know, make YouTube videos, or just like, there are people like me who are on the computer playing video games. How is it that you don't know basic troubleshooting? It's baffling to me, even in 2019. It's not like you have to have a computer science degree in order to understand how to get a computer to work, in order to understand just how the internet just basically works. But again, if it's so simple as it is to just plug in something into another thing and then it works, nobody seems to care. That's a really, really bad spot to be in this late in the game. Computers have been around for probably about 60 years, probably even more. I don't know. I don't even know how long they've been out. The internet's been around for, man, going on almost 30 years now. For people to not understand just like the basics of computing, the basics of the internet, it's a crazy thing. So what I've done, just from a support end of things, I've actually compiled a list, and shouts out to the people at Cookout who's helped me generate some of these items. Just some little tech peeves, if you will, that I run into, that I hope that maybe in 2019, 2020, we can kind of get past that. For those who need that help, hopefully you can learn something from this video, because again, it'll make my life and a whole bunch of other people's lives so much simpler. So step one, don't go messing around with settings that you are not familiar with, especially if it's a new program. There's a lot of people who think they know what they're doing. My dad is one of those guys, or one of those people where you buy a new thing and you think you know what you're doing, so you tend to poke and prod and do so many things, and it breaks, and then you well, stupid thing doesn't work. Like, no, it's not that. Not at all. Not in the least is it like that. Normally, it's because of the fact that you're poking around with things you have no idea what you're doing, and before you do that, it would behoove you to go find somebody who has dealt with this before and have them walk you through it. Now, it's not to say that before you get the thing, ask for help, because of the fact that, let's say hey, I got this new iPad and I've never had an iPad before, what should I know about it? Either that's a question you should have asked long before you purchased the iPad to see if that's what you wanted, or once you get the iPad and you find something that you don't understand, then you can kind of ask me a very specific question, as opposed to, hey, my iPad's coming tomorrow and I want to know everything about it. Like, there's no way in the world that I can provide that information for you, since I don't know what you use it for. I don't know what you bought. I don't know why you bought it. I don't know what planet, well, actually, no, I don't know what planet you're on. There are times and places to ask for things, and waiting until like the very last minute to ask for things, whether it's before you get a product or when you've fucked it up to crazy proportions, those are not the times you need to ask. You need to ask questions well before you either purchase a thing or before you even get started if you don't understand what's happening. And that could save so much time in the long run. The next thing I want to go over is when requesting information, I wouldn't ask you or any IT professional, and this is going business, this actually goes both ways. These things tend to go both ways. I would not be asking you for information if I actually already had it. It is impossible for me to understand, for me to telepathically know what your problem is, to be able to tell you how to fix it. Like, you can't call me and say, hey, my iPad's broken, can you fix it? Well, what's wrong with it? You should know. Like, don't you have an iPad? You should know how to fix it. Well, yes, in theory, I should know how to fix it. I mean, you called me, you assume I do. But in order for me to fix the problem, I would need to know exactly what the problem is. I've had people who get annoyed at me, and this is actually, again, in my personal life and even in work, where I start asking questions to try to help diagnose a problem, and they get annoyed and frustrated because of the fact they don't understand that sometimes you can be dealing with a huge system. And this is actually for work, like, especially for what I do for a living. You deal with a huge infrastructure, and it has to be narrowed down because there are so many moving pieces. But in order to narrow that down, you have to ask questions, you have to get information, and people don't understand that. They just assume that, hey, I submitted this little bit of information in the description telling you, hey, this thing broke. You should know exactly where the problem is. You should be able to fix it hands down without having to ask me any more information. Grr. And see, there are two things to that. You've got people who just expect quick, simple answers. People who, own iPads or MacBooks or whatever, hey, this thing was supposed to be simple, it broke, so it has to be like one small thing that's not working. It's like a little sand in the machine or whatever that's causing a problem. And then those are people that are actually most annoying because they don't know anything. Or you've got the people who, and which baffles me to no end, who's done the digging, who's gone and done the investigation, can't figure it out, and they've reached out to support, or they reached out to me and said, look, I've looked into it, I don't know what it is, maybe you can help me. But then when I'm trying to ask for the same information, I was like, I've dug through all that. Like, could you just give me, like, no, that's not how that works unless you provided me that information that you've done, unless you provided me the steps. Just because you did it doesn't mean that I know you did it. I can't do that. I'm not a mind reader. So please, if anybody is asking for information to help you solve a problem, don't bitch about it. Don't bitch about it. They're asking questions or asking for information, and keep asking because they are trying to help you. Are not mind readers. They need this information from you. Please just provide it. That's all we ask. Now, this is one thing that happens quite a bit. I could be, so in a work-related setting, for a lot of IT, you deal with a ticketing system. And there are times when either you have to go on vacation, or you have to be, like, you're out for some reason or another, or your coworker is out for some reason or another. And somebody has to pick up the ticket where you left off or where they left off. That's one thing I don't like to do, and I like to kind of put my cases in a state to where nobody has to worry about them until I get back. Unfortunately, if a week passed, like that's nothing I can do. But like if it's a day, if I'm like sick or I just need to take a day off, to make sure like that ticket should not need to be worried about. Like none of my tickets should need to be worried about while I'm gone. But the thing is, especially the tickets is one thing. I just don't like working behind other people. But this one's more or less for kind of instant communication, like whether or not you're using IRC, Slack, or in my personal life, Discord, where I'm trying to help people, and I'm working in places where there are people or other people who have similar expertise that I do. Not say that I'm the end-all solution. I never am, and never want to ever be in that situation. But there are times when you are helping somebody, especially in these instant chats, or if I'm looking for information, like in Discord, I'm the one providing information. In Slack, for my job, I'm the one requesting information because I'm a new guy. I don't really know as much. To where you've got somebody who jumps in the middle of the conversation. And while you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, they jump in and with their 2 cents worth, and then just dip out. According to Phase about a month ago, saying it's like drive-by support, where someone, again, just comes in and says, here's a little information, and then goes away without any context. Because they were reading, and they may have either didn't read enough, they read the last line and provided information, or they were reading up to a certain point, decided to ask, started to put in information for something that was like talked about an hour ago. That's wildly out of context now because we've moved on past that. So yeah, it's essentially like for my job, it's one way where they may, they'll come at the tail end and try to provide suggestions for something that we had talked about earlier before was, yes, scroll up, please. Or for Discord, when I'm actually providing information, you got someone who joined in at the very top of the thread and is like, hey, have you done this? Have you done this? Like, if you scroll down to the end of the conversation, you would realize that I've asked these questions, got the information, provided the help. We're done here. What are you doing? And it gets on my nerves. It bothers me so much. For people who are in my same field, who are doing this, who are kind of undermining you in some way, or undermining the person that's helping you because they think they know the answer to a problem. It's like, well, if you looked in the conversation, you'll notice we've covered this and you're providing no help. You're actually confusing us more than you're helping us because you're bringing in weird shit. It's something I would, like, again, reading is fundamental. I wish more people would read, and this is like, and it's sad, like this is something for IT professionals, other IT professionals who aren't doing it because they feel like, you know, I got this, I can answer this real quick, we solve all the problems, I can be a hero. Like, no, because if you actually got the context for this conversation, you know you're an idiot right now. So please, reading is fundamental. Please read the entire conversation. And I guess this even comes in for forum threads too. Like, read the entire forum before you start suggesting some dumb shit that everybody's already tried 20 months ago. Because forums are slow as shit and people still do that to this day. All right, now this one, definitely really, really personal. Something that has to be covered time and time again because it seems like family, your friends do not understand this. And it's the same thing, like artists have the same problem too. Don't mistaken my friendliness, my kindness for free labor. Yes, I do love to work on computers. I love it to death, and it is just the thrill of solving a problem that just gets me up in the morning. Just makes me so excited for doing this. But don't expect me to want to do that all the time. Like, that's not what I'm here for. As much as I love doing it and will help you from time to time, especially if you're in a pinch, do not expect me to sit there and just bail you out every time without hopefully being compensated in some form or fashion. Now, granted, the best way to do it, and it's terrible the way I said that, like, you know, without compensating in any form or fashion, the best way to do it, what should be the only way to do it, is by paying the people who are helping you to fix a problem, who are helping you to solve a problem. For me, I'm a little bit more lenient because, again, if it's a side hustle, then it's whatever. I'm not hurting for monetary compensation. It'd be nice. I would really appreciate it because, you know, hey, video games aren't cheap. But for other people, that's definitely not the case. And just because they're your friend and just because they work on computers for a living does not mean that you could just go up to them and expect them to give you free labor. That's just not cool. That's not what you should do. Like, you wouldn't want somebody, if you were an accountant, you wouldn't want somebody to walk up and say, hey, you're my friend, you should be able to do my taxes for free, right? Like, every year and just no problem. Like, no, you would like to be compensated. Taxes are hard. So yeah, for you to not want to be compensated for that is crazy. So don't treat your computer friends like that just because it's something they like to do. You may like to punch numbers on a calculator, but it doesn't mean I'm going to expect you to do things for me for free. This one is really simple. Read the documentation. Going back up to the one before where that was to my tech friends, like, read the conversation beforehand, get the context. Honestly, for anything that you get, whether it is a physical thing you have to build or a computer that you have to work on, a piece of software, read the documentation that comes with it. Read it before you use the thing you bought, because it can probably save you a lot of time, a lot of trouble, a lot of money that you'd otherwise have to throw at someone like me to fix your problem if you decided to read the manual in the first place. You just read it, just avoid all the headaches. If you run into a problem, look it up first. Sure, if you look up a Microsoft error, you get the little error code, it will probably tell you nothing, and that's understandable. Microsoft is just dumb as shit when it comes to that. But there are other there's other pieces of software where they actually do write specific error codes, and you could search for that in Google and figure out what the problem is. It could lead you to a solution on your own, or again, going back to the, hey, if I'm asking you for information, you can provide the error code and like this, like a link or something, like to, hey, I looked this up. Maybe this is what it does. This is the error message I got. This is the error code that I got, and I did a little bit of work. If you need a little bit more information, please let me know. Hey, if you want to come over and we can kind of look at this together, sure. But reading documentation and actually just reading and providing information off of things that you are seeing on screen could go a long way to helping us help you. Or just not even have to help you at all because you figured it out because you read. Hey. This is a big one. This is a big one that a lot of people have to do it, not just necessarily with tech people, but even with other professions as well. Like I was thinking about doctors. Nobody would do this to doctor, but no, people totally do this to doctor too. You've come to me for help. Let me help you. Do not overtalk me. Do not sit there and try to interject shit that does not make sense. I am the professional here. You came to me for help. Please sit quietly as I help you. If I ask for something, again, provide that information. But do not overtalk me. Do not act like you know more than me, because if you did, you wouldn't need me here in the first place. Not a lot of people personally do this. This is more or less like, again, an enterprise thing where customers will call me in, and actually I have one customer who provided fixes to our documentation for things he thought we got wrong, but upon talking to him, realizing, oh, he fat fingered a lot of things. This is why it didn't work. Or he was impatient, or he ran debug. So he was seeing error messages that nobody would normally see, because given the way the code is written, things are supposed to break because they didn't go this route. They went another route. So everything I was looking for over here, it doesn't exist. So it's going to error out. But it's supposed to be hidden because it doesn't matter. They're irrelevant errors. Nothing's breaking. It's like, yeah, there's just no file there. Oh no. Is it supposed to be a file there? No. Then why are we worried about it? Please, you called me. Do not act like you are smarter than me, or else, hey, you know everything. I'm going to hang up. I'm just going to check up on you when you solve the problem. So, yeah. Well, trust me, for my job, no, I'm not going to do that. I got to take the good with the bad. Mostly it's bad, but, it's the job I signed up for. Now, this is something that I've had to deal with internal tech support. Normally, I could care less who anybody is when they're working for another company. Look, like you're a customer, I treat you all the same unless, my bosses tell me different. So this doesn't apply for external or global tech support. This is more or less for internal, and it's something I've had to deal with. I guess I'm still gonna call them customer. I had a customer who was trying to get me to change your email list. It's some really rudimentary thing that wasn't really supposed to do. It was something easy that could have been done, but without the proper authorization, I couldn't really do it. So try to tell the customer, so no, I can't do this without X, Y, and Z. Well, can you please do this? Can you make an exception? No, I cannot do that. These are the rules, and if I make an exception for you, I gotta make an exception for everybody. And then she threatens me by saying that, hey, I'm the executive assistant for chief legal. I'm sorry, I cannot do that unless I have X, Y, and Z. The thing is, I don't care who you are. There are policies and procedures put in place to protect me from things going awry. And again, if I make an exception for you, one, yes, other people will decide to try to expose that same loophole. But those procedures were put in place for a reason, to where if I did something out of the ordinary, I could end up breaking something. And I don't want to be held liable for it. Because again, you're not going to get in trouble if the thing breaks. I am. You got what you wanted until it breaks, and then you wonder why it broke. So, well, because, I've been through rules for you. Well, why did you do that? If you knew it was well, I tried to stop you, but you were insistent. You threatened to, send your boss down to come talk to me, and I buckled. So yes, for IT people, do not buckle, stay steadfast. If you have those questions, talk to your manager about it. But again, for anybody who thinks they need special treatment, you just reference them to the rules. It's like, nope, there's no preferential treatment here. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure if the CEO of the company were to ask the same thing, I'd have to put them through the same problems or the same steps, unless my boss told me otherwise. Now, this is normally a big joke in the IT community. or anybody who works with computers who actually knows their stuff a little bit. Essentially, when something breaks, hey, did you turn it off and turn it on again? It's again, big joke, but it actually is something that people should do. If you run into a problem, the first thing you should probably do before picking up a phone, before submitting a ticket, before chasing me down in the middle of the street, is to actually reboot your system, reboot the device that you are using. Turn it off, turn it back on again. It could be, because it could be something that's just like one off that just needed to be refreshed. Like with Windows, it could be like a program could be doing a memory leak somewhere, or a program didn't close properly, so it was just kind of eating up resources that you didn't know about. If you shut the computer and just power it down, even if it's frozen, like maybe it's the one instance where yes, maybe a hard power down, you'll hold the little button until it just turns off without having to do the start shutdown. That may be the one instance where that's okay, because again, if it's unresponsive, how can you shut it down? That may, and it's like if it's frozen, then it's already done. Everything's just stuck right into a halt. There's nothing really you can do. You might as well do that anyway. You're not going to really hurt too much of anything, because the damage has already been done if the system is frozen. But yeah, like just turn it off, turn it back on again, see if that works out for you. I guarantee you, it's just really, really simple thing you can do. It make my life, make all IT, all support jobs so much simpler. Turn it off and turn it on again. We're not joking. That actually is probably like the number one thing you can do to bring your system back up. Now this right here was actually born from something that wasn't even necessarily tech related, but I remember back around the time when I first started Facebook, when Facebook was starting to get a little creep, it was starting to show signs of creep. Like not really bad creep, but just enough creep, where people were trying to decipher the terms of service and or claiming things were there that weren't necessarily there. Now, granted, today in 2019, there may be things in there that we don't know is in there, and it's really, really bad. We can actually just say right now that if you are on Facebook, you are a brave soul. I feel like I'm a brave soul for being on Facebook. I get it. I can't quit Facebook. I'm sorry. It's something I saw about like a month ago, where you get people to copy and paste this kind of legalese that says that based off of some statute in some state that you don't even live in, Facebook can't use your likeness, use your images, your videos, anything you post for their own personal gain without your consent. It was some weird thing. You can look it on Snopes, or you can actually just look it up at your aunt's Facebook page and see, hey, that's where that is. And it's weird because, yeah, again, in 2019, that's still going around when it's been debunked so many times. Like you posting this on your Facebook page or your Facebook wall does not do anything. Again, I was guilty of it. I didn't know any better. I didn't know legalese. I thought I was actually doing something when I posted it that one time until I actually read up on it and said, okay, yeah, this is dumb. This is bullshit. What the fuck am I doing? If you see something on Facebook, and again, this should be really, really important. This should be hitting you really, really hard now, based off of things that have happened, especially in the US and probably all over the world when it comes to misinformation being spread. If you read it on Facebook or any other social media account or service, it does not mean that it is true. Again, Facebook is a very good tool for spreading misinformation, specifically Facebook. So if you're seeing something on Facebook, do not just send it to me as oh my God, what's happening here? Like my remote is giving my babies cancer. What do I do? Do I need to put it in a Faraday cage? No, that's not going to solve a problem. That's not even true. It never was true. Stop doing it. And not just that, there was actually another video too where someone was talking about Apex Legends and how, it's Windows 10 fault that you can't stream Apex Legends. It could be, but also could be because of the fact that the game is super unoptimized to be able to handle the issue. Because I refuse to believe that Apex Legends is having the issue when I could turn on Titanfall 2, which is essentially the same gaming engine, and do that. So people who aren't doing necessarily their due diligence for things are going out and kind of putting out misinformation. And they mean well. These are people that actually do mean well. Somebody who comes across something and, hey, this happens to me. Has this ever happened to you? Maybe it's the same thing. We should all get up in arms about it. Sure. And I probably would too. But then again, I also opened the game, verified that yes, it did happen, but also thought about, wait a second. I'm able to play a lot of modern games that are more resource intensive than Apex Legends. I would like to think so, yeah. And play just fine. Or maybe just more graphics. Like they look like, okay, yeah, like the effects they're using for this game is amazing, but I can stream it just fine. However, I can't do that for Apex Legends. Yeah, we could point at Windows 10, but essentially at that point, that becomes every game. But the weird thing was he only singled out Apex Legends. He didn't say any other game did it. So it was like, if you're only looking at Apex Legends as the problem, and not any other game, you've not really done your research. And that's something that you really need for people to do. Don't just sit there and listen to one person and sit there and say, well, they said it and they know everything. Like, you've seen their YouTube video? It's crazy. This is the worst one, but I promise you, I've done the research. I lived the life of IT to where it's like, yeah, what I'm telling you about all of this right here, it's true because it's shit that I've had to deal with. For someone who's played a game that's been out for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, yeah, I doubt that you have the expertise to really speak on that topic. I doubt it, especially when, again, I can launch Titanfall 2 and that works just fine. It's the same engine. But yeah, whatever you see on Facebook, don't always believe it's true. Just don't. Thank you. All right. That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much. Again, just following these steps, just following these nice steps, these quick little tips here can definitely save everybody, myself, yourself, anybody that you ask for help or anybody that you're helping, so much time, so much stress. If you just kind of just take something from these tools, from these tips. Again, it's like, it's not something that, oh, this just happened all in a week or whatever. No, this has been through, like, I've been doing IT work for about 10 years now, being paid for it. But been working on people's computers, been doing the whole IT, home IT, side hustle thing for about 15 years now. Jeez, and probably even longer than that. So it's like I've seen a lot from a kid up until now, and it's crazy that, again, still in 2019, we're experiencing a lot of things that, you figure we'd be gone by now. If you think I'm wrong, please put that down in the comments. I'm more than willing to listen and try to, get some clarity here. If you think I'm sitting there overreacting to a thing, yeah, please let me know. Definitely, we could talk it out. Because, I'm all about happy discourse about, trying to find sanity in IT. But yep, until then, all I've got left to say to you, wonderful people, is peace out. Oh, what? Oh, hold on. Give me a second. Give me. Oh, sorry about that. Well, I hope you really enjoyed what you just saw. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, for clicking the video. Of course, if you'd like to see more of this dope content, we'd love to support the channel. Definitely hit that subscribe button below. Click that bell icon so you can be notified of more content that we produce here. Also, click the boxes. They're here. They should be here now. I don't know if they're not, if they are, but definitely click these boxes here. Take you to more wonderful content that we produce on the channel. And I guarantee you will not be disappointed. So, yeah. Till then, peace out.